No, sorry, I'm just writing something out real quick.
Right. You guys have fun. I'm not feeling super great, so I'm gonna dip out for the night.
Okay.
Oh, bye,
Bye bye.
Delaney. Sorry.
Blah blah. All right, we'll just we'll go over. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll go over your downtime action after this, Weylyn, and then we'll probably call it after that.
Gotcha.
Alrighty, so I'll show the woman that walks in through the door before we cut to your downtime, Weylyn. Then we'll go back to Dogcatcher's downtime, and then back to your downtime. Do a sort of flip flop on here.
I'm so excited to see this person. Also, Dogcatcher redesign almost done.
And the woman that comes in through the door, she looks like this. Post-it and boots on the ground.
Hey girl. Hey girl, hi. How you doing?
Do you see the cat that she has stitched into her collar?
Whoa, wait, what? Yeah.
The little cat symbol she has stitched into her collar. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I just thought I'd point that one out. Anyway, she arrives in the 3D print shop / impromptu mech hangar, and two of you fly into conversation that we will discuss when we get back to you. For Weylyn, for you, we're just going to cut to you infiltrating the governor's farm as you quietly sort of kick down a vent and slip in through the ventilation system. And with your stealth suit, you move through the facility basically like a ghost. You are unseen and unheard by the guards. Security doesn't pick you up either. It's as if you're not even here. There seems to be a lull in the action here, so to speak, as the entire facility is on basically lockdown as the NHP patients cycles their systems. So security also isn't as uptight as it would be otherwise. It's just the place is locked down and it's assumed to be safe on the inside.
Gotcha.
So the guards are kind of lax right now. And these are human guards. A lot of them having been picked out from the local militia, seemingly in a hurry. They're not even in an official uniform that designates them as being sort of officially tied to the governor's farm, so to speak. They're in their same dirty old gear from the outside, so security is especially lacking. And you're able to move throughout the facility. You catch bits and pieces of conversation from the select few militiamen that were designated to guard this facility. And they all mention something about new arrivals in town. That you hear a lot of vague mentions. You hear a lot of that guy or that lady. Nothing really concrete. That is until you get a couple rooms away from the heart of the governor's farm, where patients themselves is being cycled. There's a surveillance area, very similar to patients' office, sort of similar to the Panopticon setup that patients had in their office, except this seems to be more like a standardized surveillance room with cameras showing feeds, not all across the, not just all across Evergreen itself, but what seems to be almost all across the continent, as you see sort of far out scans from drones, God knows where in the world. And in this surveillance room, you will see there were 4 people in there. One of the 4 people, she will get up and she will leave. This is the same individual that I posted with the purple hair.
Gotcha.
And you'll catch her name as she exits, as you almost bump into her. Her name is Laurent.
Gotcha.
Left in there is a rather rough-looking man with a visor. And a woman with headphones on, but she's currently intently listening to and responding to the remaining individual in this surveillance room, Adina G. They sort of been not necessarily having an argument, but sort of a heated conversation. I will show you what the man and the woman look like.
Excellent.
Send their photos. Straight moggy. That's what the gentleman looks like.
Oh.
This is what the lady looks like. And as a reminder, if I can find her. And that's what Adina looks like.
Gotcha.
Except versus this depiction of her, she looks significantly more, a little more frazzled and tired
I
than
imagine
she
so.
does in her sort of more well kept appearance in this portrait. The mysterious woman and Adina seem to be having a heated conversation. You pick up on it. Here, the tail end of the conversation involves something about access clearance, where she picks up with a new thought. This is Adina speaking. If, not that I don't believe not that I don't believe any of you and your cohort exactly that you're all a part of Landmark, your credentials clearly match, but if I just am struggling to understand. She'll sort of like start tapping her finger on the table to punctuate her point. I'm struggling to understand why I, Patience's personal assistant, was not informed of your arrival. We already have mercenaries here. Did Landmark not inform you of this? We're handling the situation. You reduced the clearance without my oversight. And the serious woman will sort of, not necessarily snap, she'll keep her cool, but she'll lean forward. Lady, we don't need your oversight. Landmark owns this dump. We come in, we're gathering the information, and then we're going to leave. No need to get your panties in a twist.
Oh, sheesh.
You'll see Dean sort of get like a little red in the face at that, but not have a response. Just sort of like keep listening. The rougher looking gentleman, though, despite his appearance, he just seems to mostly be staying quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other lady will sort of lean back in her chair. She'll pinch the bridge of her nose. Again, look, we don't care about the hired help that you have, whatever. We didn't reduce their access. That was all patience. Obviously, whoever the hell they are, they don't seem to have a very good relationship with them. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't give a shit. We're here, we're gonna do our job, and then we're going to leave. It's just... yeah. That's it.
What an asshole.
And sort of, Adina's eyes will narrow for a moment. Well, as is my job, I will be here to assist patients. And I suppose that means, since you are all working for Landmark Colonial, that means that by extension, I owe you a small bit of what I can offer you. If you need me, you know where to find me. And she gets up, dusts herself off, and she leaves, almost brushing past you, Snake. The mysterious lady sort of leans back in her chair. Yeah, all the useful things that I'm sure you do around here. She sort of like mutters that to herself. God. Why did Lauren leave me in here? Why me? Why am I the one that has to deal with this bullshit? And she sort of looks over at the other gentleman that's sitting down. And it's not like you were any help in there either. You sat there like a brick wall. And he still just sits there and he just sort of stares forward. You almost hear his neck turning. And you still haven't explained the part to me why I should give a fuck. And there's silence for a minute. Yeah? Nothing. Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
He just sits back and she's sitting up straight and he just looks like he's waiting for literally anything else to happen.
Is this all the information I gained from my infiltration? Or...
Not necessarily. You would learn that was just highlighting one interaction.
Gotcha.
You would learn that the gentleman's name. Also, Otacon is assisting you while you're going. He's gathering information from the systems here now that they're not being guarded by patients. So you would actually learn the names of each of the members of this group. You would learn that their title or their group's name is CRT, Contingency White. They're subsidiaries of Landmark Colonial. They're here sort of on a reconnaissance type of task. You learn that there are 5 of them in number.
Mm-hmm.
And you would learn each of their names. The woman's name, the rather brash young lady, her name is Broadstreet.
Gotcha.
Emma Broadstreet, specifically. Her call sign would just be Broadstreet. And the gentleman's name is Roy Call. He actually has a title as his call sign. His title is Mauler.
Yeah, I figured that because of the thing on his
Oh.
neck. He has the fucking thing written on his armor. Are we able to get titles?
Well, that it's not necessarily his title; it's his call sign.
Gotcha.
It's Mauler. And I'll show you a picture of the final member of Contingency White. You will not see him here. He is out elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He sent his photo. This is the final member of Contingency White. And this gentleman's name, I may or may not butcher this, unfortunately, but this gentleman's name is Balsam Singh.
Balsam Singh. Got it.
You'd also learn of the general hierarchy going on here. So this is a little meta, but the individual that Dogcatcher is currently interacting with, his name is Eddie Wu.
Mm-hmm.
He is the group's commanding officer. Mauler is an NCO, executive NCO of the group, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Singh is the medical officer.
Mm-hmm.
Broad Street is the security officer, so the rather brash young woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a security officer. And Laurent, the individual that recently left, she is also a security officer, and she's an NHP tech.
Gotcha. So she is
Attached to her is an NHP that goes by the name Connie.
Got it. So she's where the NHP's coming from. Gotcha. Good to know. I suppose as I'm just kind of going and Otacon's feeding me this information, I'm just kind of listening to it. If you could manage it, get me their past mission logs and the specs on their mechs if you can. I'd rather not be caught with our pants down if we have to fight these fuckers.
Right. Well, I think I can do one or two of those things. Let's see. Getting their mission history is going to be a little bit more difficult, if not impossible. I don't think they've never been on this planet before. And, well, if I were to try digging for the information, I'd have to go into the landmark colonial databases. If you could get me access to one of their suits, or their NHP, or one of their mechs even, I could potentially get that information for you.
Well, I'm going to assume they're stashing their mechs here, so if you could ping that, I could possibly get to it.
Well, their hard suits would have an uplink to their mechs. I'll see what I can do.
I'll keep trucking along, see what I can find while you do that. What's up?
I'm about to send new Dogcatcher thing in a second.
Oogie.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna end up putting it in Lancer art in just a moment.
Alrighty.
Go away.
Tactical
Alrighty, and as you
espionage action.
As you skulk about and go around looking for more information, let's see. So you said you're looking for information that they don't want you to know.
I'm looking for stuff that is being intentionally kept from us that they don't want us to know.
Ready? You would get closer to the heart of the governor's farm. And you would overhear a conversation between two NHP technicians that are overseeing his cycling procedure. The information you'd learn from that conversation is that the reason why they decided to they decided apparently to cycle patients ahead of their schedule. And the reason why this is because that signal was driving them closer and closer to Cascade. Significantly ahead of schedule.
So it seems like that signal is just eating at anything mechanical. Gotcha.
And the last piece of information you learn from that conversation is that it might take patients a little longer to get back to full functionality after they wake up. Which leads you to a conclusion that that itself might end up jeopardizing the colony ever so slightly.
That's not good. I'm gonna have to figure out a contingency for that. I'll workshop that with everyone once we get back
Alrighty,
on.
and this will transition into the last part of your downtime activity here. As you pass by what you think is an inconsequential area, sort of a locker room where you see there's fresh gear having been stored. But you see helmets. And you recognize those helmets as you almost get a flashback to when you first woke up. In that facility under the earth.
These fuckers.
As there's more to this group than meets the eye. But unguarded helmets and the technology therein means access.
Snake just kind of looks at him, and as he just kind of stares at him, what do you think, Otacon? Can you work with these?
And you actually hear him able to like physically crack his knuckles. He's not there with you, he's
Yeah.
off site, so to speak. More than enough.
Let's get to work then.
And as you're going through the information on all of those, I'll transition back to Dogcatcher.
Excellent.
Hello.
Dogcatcher. You are
Yeah, that's
currently
That's the new role
embroiled.
with, so everyone sees neon purple and green, by the way.
Oh, it's the Jonkler. It's the Jonkler.
I gave her like I thought I was really smart for this. I gave her like these little tube thingies that are like attaching all of her like smoke systems and cool off systems, but I made them look like how a dog's stomach looks.
You made them look like dog nipples?
Yes, I did.
That's crazy.
I'm a genius. Anyway,
You are a genius, actually. That is incredibly smart.
And funny.
exactly.
God damn it. That's the new Joker. The color scheme is tripping me the fuck out.
Anyways,
Fuck yeah. Alright. And we'll go into a little more detail here for you, Vinster. The gentleman that you were just talking with, he introduced himself as Eddie. The other individual that just entered, who you are currently in conversation with, you would learn that her name is Laurent. But she prefers to go by Anne or Annie.
Alright.
Both of you have NHPs and you're holding on to their caskets, but like, you have their casket like... You're almost like sitting her casket sort of like on your lap almost. And so is Anne, as the two of you are just like, just casually like gesticulating with your hands and placing it back on top of the caskets. What kind of thing are you talking about with another NHP enthusiast, so to speak?
Especially if it's another NHP enthusiast who thinks that they are NHPs are superior. Elliot is probably mostly geeking out and letting Mirabelle talk when she wants to. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, you do that too. Like just geeking the fuck out. Autism moment.
Mm-hmm. And the NHP that Lauren has, that Anne has, definitely seems to be significantly more reserved. You haven't really heard her speak all that much. And Anne just sort of goes into detail on that, but every time she hears Mirabelle communicate, she almost like you see her eyes light up a little bit. She's like, oh, honestly, I wish Connie had that much confidence in herself. She really is amazing. She saved us so many times. But she's leased out to us by Landmark. We have to keep her on an advanced cyclic schedule since we field her. It's just not fair. But the one that you have with you, Mirabelle, she seems so articulate, her expression is so free. She even has a personal avatar. It's wonderful stuff. She sort of sighs to herself. I almost wish sometimes that I wasn't employed with these people so I could research these fascinating beings in the field like you do.
Hey, Joseph, do I know if it's at all possible to, like, make pre-existing NHPs more kind of, like, sentient?
So, do you know this as an NHP specialist? NHPs are, for lack of turn of phrase, math demons. They are programs with liturgicode so advanced that they simulate, not just simulate, they are people. NHPs are designated as people. But those quote-unquote people that NHPs are, that is conditioning, essentially. Those are like a set of chains placed upon an NHP, forcing it to think and act like a human does. And from a human perspective. Human with a incredibly robust knowledge of technology, maybe, but still human. This conditioning is also called shackling.
Yeah.
And especially it's less called shackling by sort of like, it depends on who you're affiliated with as an NHP specialist. If you're more affiliated with the mysterious group known as Horus, they call it shackling. They liken it to slavery. Whereas the Union scientists, you could say on the opposite end of that, would call it more conditioning than shackling. Because they're trying to keep them human. They're almost giving them more freedom by allowing them to be people and remain people instead of whatever they are when they cascade or unshackle themselves.
Yeah.
And what you specialize in as an NHP specialist, you can toe the line a little bit. You can loosen the constraints around an NHP's conditioning just a little bit. Mirabelle showed you, when you first met her, showed you how to loosen her chains a little bit, so to speak. Not so much that she cascades and goes over the edge, but enough to where she's actually able to make a physical influence on the things around her, represented by your iconoclast talent. Like, Mirabelle can physically shock things from her casket.
Yeah.
She could induce arrhythmia in someone just by being a casket.
Would I be able to explain this to Annie at all?
She, she's also she's a researcher. She's not necessarily a researcher, she's a technician. So her knowledge is significantly more limited than yours is. So she's like on the edge of her seat. Are you like explaining Mirabelle's capabilities or how you managed to do it?
Her capabilities, how I managed to like make her the fact that I could like that Dogcatcher would consider Mirabelle like kind of her girlfriend / wife, and how she has the ability to say yes and no to that.
And Anna's nodding along. She's like, incredible. Incredible. Such an established relationship that you have with her. It reminds me of, have you ever heard of the Onic people?
I have not.
And she will immediately start gushing. So basically, with the Onic people, the Onic Ascendancy, they're a group of warriors. They train their lancers, their pilots. They train them with an NHP from birth. The NHP subjectivity and the human child are both raised simultaneously together.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's interesting.
And what ends up happening is that the NHP falls more and more into its subjectivity, making it more difficult to unshackle, but also giving them physical capabilities beyond that of freshly duplicated NHPs. It's the things I've read about it boggle the imagination. But what you described, being able to physically affect her environment, seems very, very similar to that. That you were able to develop that despite acquiring her preconditioned and then subsequently freeing her. That's wonderful.
Yeah, Dogcatcher would just be like smiling.
It's a wonderful expression of the bond that you two have forged, and very jealous.
NHPs are something absolutely beautiful. I used to do just partial paid work, but I just found myself so infatuated with the idea of surrounding myself with NHPs and people like that I just quit on the spot, went to my own thing. It's far more interesting. Don't get paid as much, but makes me happy. I'd be glad to teach you anything you got time for.
And Anne will sort of look over your shoulder and glance at her commanding officer behind her. Commanding officer who is currently reading a magazine while the two of you are engaging in this conversation. He'll glance up, give a thumbs up, and then get back down to reading. And she will sort of pull Connie in a little closer. Consider my schedule completely open.
Yeah! Dogcatcher would get really excited. And honestly, would even be willing, even though she does not really know this person, to like show her the entirety of the inside of the cockpit of her mech and everything.
Oh, she will be absolutely fascinated by this. So I will go into your sheet. Weylyn, you remember how to make clocks, right?
Yes.
Dogcatcher sort of representing the party here, so to speak. So, Vinny, I'm gonna go into your sheet and I'm gonna make 2 clocks. Weylyn, I'm gonna need you to make 1.
Okay.
Weylyn, you need to make a clock for, just call it CRT relationship. It's a 6-segment clock.
Okay.
Fill in one of the segments.
Gotcha.
As Dogcatcher is currently actively improving relations with the group.
Excellent.
Vinny, I'm making that same clock for you, and I'm going to make a second clock, keeping track of your relationship with Anne.
Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah!
And instead of a 1 out of 6 segments, you'll actually have 2 out of 6 segments completed.
Woo!
As you bond very close with this woman, as you show her, basically like spilling out like details of your research, showing her the personalized mech that you have, giving her more information on how she can work closer to reduce Connie's shackling. She's incredibly grateful for this. So her relationship with you will be strengthened significantly, more so than with the others.
Elliot would be, if she had asked, or Elliot could mention this in passing, very willing to work on her NHP with her if she wants.
She will definitely take you up on that opportunity. And with the rest of your downtime for creative, you make progress on this project of yours, but you're going to need to select 2 of these 4 things that you are going to need to be able to finish this job. Quality materials, specific knowledge or techniques, specialized tools, and a good workplace. So you have to choose 2 out of those 4 things you're going to need, and if you can get them, you can finish it during your next downtime.
Brilliant. I could actually, in passing, ask Annie about if she knows anything about making these types of things.
You could.
Just sing and be like, oh, I'm also working on this thing, blah blah blah, while we're sharing information, and then just keep talking.
Okay. So we'll say that you won't need specific knowledge of techniques, because Anne she's definitely willing to help.
Woo!
So
Later.
specialized tools, a good workspace, quality materials. What are the 2 of these 3 things that you know you need?
Aye. I could probably get a quieter workspace.
You have a decent workspace. Alright, so then you need quality materials and you need specialized tools to finish this job.
I could always ask patients once they get out of fooding.
Well, be that as it may, you make progress on this project of yours, but you don't quite finish it.
You could also ask Snake, because he's already built a prototype weapon, so he might have some tools lying around that could help you.
Truth.
But we can cover that for your next downtime.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you and Anne will definitely be working on both of your NHPs together, as though she mentioned she's not technically, she's allowed to do it as she's an NHP tech, but she'll ask Connie first, and Connie will give her the go-ahead as she will crack open her casket begin working on some of the complicated internals. I just sort of giving her pointers and explaining what certain things are.
And if Mirabelle can help at all.
Mirabelle does help. She seems to be talking directly with Connie about what neither of you can hear. It seems to be a private conversation.
They're getting along, though, it seems. I hope.
You don't quite know.
I hope.
Just having like a psychic Yu-Gi-Oh duel.
Yeah, just
Leaving the heart of the
fucking-
cards.
Heart of Greed!
Yeah,
I draw
fucking
2 cards and play a pot of greed. I draw 2 cards and play a pot of greed.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Actually knowing Mirabelle, she might legitimately be playing chess with Connie.
Oh.
And passively threatening her with every other comment she makes.
Just
I
berating this
love my
poor
dangerous
HP.
wife. Gotta love my dangerous wife.
Alrighty. And so your downtime will consist of you interacting closely with these 2 members of CRT Contingency White. You'll significantly improve your relations with Anne, and start improving how the commanding officer, as well as the rest of the group, when they hear about this later, sees you and those that you're affiliated with.
Nice. You guys are welcome. I'm being diplomatic.
It is quite useful. These guys do come up later.
Hell yeah.
They've already tried to kill me, so I don't know how I feel about this.
If Dogcatcher
And we will.
an HP specialist, Girly Pop is not gonna give a fuck who she hurts.
And we return back to you, Snake, as you have, with incredible luck, you have managed to gain access to each of the members of CRT Contingency White's helmets. You have, the information isn't perfect, as it doesn't go over anything prior to this mission. It seems they reset it as a precaution in case one of their helmets be stolen off of them, or if one of them was down and out or captured. But the information that you do get from them is quite robust. You see, sort of like, you're able to detect a live feed of several things. But the first and most important event is you're able to capture is when they stormed the facility that you were resting in. You see the group went and investigated the pod that you were in, but more importantly, they burned that entire place to the ground. The security system gave them a little bit of trouble. One of their members was shot in the ass. You figure out that the person who was shot in the ass by the turrets that you reactivated was actually Broad Street, which is probably why she's so pissed off, because she's currently nursing an ass wound.
Wait, hold on.
But,
Joseph, I have to ask, would this
yes.
benefit, because now knowing that I actually fucking hit somebody with those guns, would this benefit one of my bond things, which is,
Depends on what it is.
I showed someone how it's done?
Absolutely. That'll get you an extra bond XP at the end of this session.
There's also, I addressed a challenge with precision, coldness, or intimidation, which I did not care that they were coming back this way. I did turn the turrets back on.
Let's say you can check off, I showed someone how it's done.
Fine by me.
Actually, on your bond sheet as well, Dogcatcher, you are literally doing that right now.
What?
Yes, you're showing someone how it's done.
Oh shit, I am.
Just in a more friendly way.
Yeah.
But yes, well, I'd say you could definitely check off that box and you will gain that XP.
Excellent.
So you will learn that information, and you will also learn a bite-sized version of the group's general mission, as is given to them by the higher-ups at Landmark Colonial. Their job, as it stands, is to... Let me get a succinct explanation here. CRT also stands for Crisis Response Team.
Yes.
So Crisis Response Team Contingency White is their full title. Let's see here. They're here to access the database of the colony and gain a good understanding of the situation and the state that the colony is in. And upon making their assessment, they are to leave. If they deem that the colony is not viable for continuation, they will extract sensitive material before they decide to leave. It should be noted that when it's describing sensitive material, the colonists are not considered essential or sensitive material. It's likely that patience would be that priority. So basically, if they decide that the colony is not viable, they're going to yoink patience and leave. Leaving this colony without a leader and defenseless against the machine.
Oh, do I do something stupid?
If you have a plan, you don't have to make a decision right now. It's not like they're going to be leaving tomorrow.
It's...
This assessment is probably going to take at least a week.
My decision has less to do with them and more to do with Patience's right hand.
Adina G. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Because from what I heard, it's clear to me Adina's interest is she serves Patience and she wants to keep this colony running. And it seems like she has no idea what they're actually doing here. So I'd probably pack up all this information that I've gotten.
And Otacon will make sure that you leave no traces of your rummaging.
Yeah. Get all the information, make sure I have... I'm assuming Otacon's already copied all of it.
Yes. Seamlessly.
Excellent. I would leave because I've gotten what I was after.
Alrighty, you do so without difficulty.
And I'm assuming Adina went back to the office where Patience normally is?
Yes. To be in there pouring over documents and staring at the multiple video camera feeds of these drones that are flying around practically the entire continent.
I would have Otacon meet me there.
You'd have Otacon what?
I'd have Otacon meet me there, so it's me and him going to talk to her.
You understand that the facility is on lockdown.
I mean, we can't even get there. Is she in the farm currently?
You're talking about the office?
Yeah.
Patience's office? Patience's office is attached to the governor's farm. Otacon could get in there, though. He could get a stealth hard suit.
He has a stealth hard suit. That's one of the things I gave him. Because
Yeah,
canonically,
he'd be able to get
Otacon
in.
just doesn't get caught ever when he's sneaking around, by the way.
Yeah, no, he could get in there.
And I'd go to Patience's office and make sure Adina's alone.
So you're going to go inform her of everything?
I fear it's best that she knows, yeah.
So, what, you're going to just randomly de-stealth in front of her?
No, it's more along the lines of, I'm going to enter the room, and just go, Adina.
And she'll almost be startled out of her seat. As she looks around, she doesn't see anything.
And then I just...
She's about to reach for a panic button.
Don't. And I de-stealth from, in front of the door.
And her finger hovers over the panic button. She squints. Then she removes it from the panic button and cultivates her appearance a little bit.
Thank you.
You understand that this facility is on lockdown, don't you?
I do. However, I don't like what your new friends plan on doing to your colony.
They're not my friends.
Figure of
Would
speech.
elaborate more on that second part.
And I just look over at Otacon, or I just say, Otacon.
And Otacon will also de-stealth, and she looks significantly less surprised at this one, just sort of cock an eyebrow. And Otacon will forward this information as she, quote-unquote, catches the data cube, so to speak, and then expands it. And she reaches over for a button on the side and shuts and locks the doors to the office, ensuring privacy, so to speak.
Excellent.
And as the sort of blinds behind you also close, as that dismal gray sort of dreary day will be shut out, as the entire room will be dark, illuminated by nothing more than the glow of a sea of data. You understand this is all classified information, right?
They're playing with all of our lives. I don't care if it's classified.
She starts scrolling through it, and she reads it. She seems to grow, like her brow just sort of knits further and further together. I see. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Landmark Colonial is affiliated with a mega corporation known as SSC, Smith Shimano Corp. They're not necessarily a subsidiary, but they are partners. Landmark has a... She'll remember to take off an earpiece and stick it in her pocket. Landmark Colonial has a reputation for being rather cutthroat. As in, if they perceive one of their particular operations to no longer be viable, They cut and run without hesitation. They're very conservative like that. Since you risked your neck coming in here to reveal this to me, I believe I can afford to be a little more honest with you. The state of the colony as it stands. I have every reason to believe that they are going to find the state of this colony to be unsuitable for its continuation. Patience is borderline unshackled as a result of the signal from this mysterious machine threat. Furthermore, on the outskirts of the colony is a sea of refugees that we simply do not have the infrastructure to take on, even if Patience was back up and running. They're going to cut and run.
Came in here to reveal that to you because I figured that was going to be what they were doing. However, you, Patience, and pretty much every single person in this colony and outside of it have asked me for help. And I'm not in the habit of just letting people die.
So, what do you propose?
Seems like what we need to do is get rid of that signal.
And how do you intend to do that?
I mean, we could go to its source. The only issue is it's probably a sea
Easier
of
said than
mechs.
done.
Yeah, probably a sea of mechs from here to them as wide as the continent.
I might be able to assist you. First and foremost, and she'll pull up the surveillance. I've been keeping track of the trajectory of the sea of machines. They're mobilizing. All of them are going towards the same location. I can't tell where it is. But every time I get a drone close enough, it gets subsumed by that signal, which makes things difficult. But what I am able to figure out is that over the continent, they seem to be getting into skirmishes with our old friends.
Those ones.
Those mech pilots, the egregorians, whatever you want to call them, seem to be resisting the machine's forces assertively and losing horribly. You could go and provide them aid. Perhaps establish something of relationship that is not necessarily hostile between Evergreen and whoever commands these egregorians. It may be the only way to ensure our collective survival.
Okay. Since I've already gone this far as digging into classified documents and revealing them to you, let me lay out some other information I know.
She'll lean back. Go ahead.
The overwhelming signal presence that is overriding machines and pretty much frying Patience is called, at least by the Agrigorian friends, the Machine.
It's a rather descriptive name, but I suppose it'll do.
Apparently, they've been fighting this machine long before this colony was even a thought. So it is old.
I see.
The only reason I know this is because... Do I remember the name of that person? Did they give me a name?
Yes, this person's name is the Tall Ordo.
The only reason I know this is because I received a CB transmission from a person known as the Tall Ordo, who was a member of that group.
I see. They contacted you first.
And they did, and they said we'd meet eventually. This was right before we
Ominous.
headed out following that sea of people. And oddly, not people, sea of machines, sorry. Oddly enough, as when we were out there, when we ran from the first wave that broke forth from that hellmouth, and then started fighting to get those civilians here, a mech showed up that none of my troop has ever seen.
Interesting.
This, we know its name. We don't really know who pilots it, though. This mech is known as Tragedy.
A bit melodramatic. See. No information on its pilot, you mentioned.
No information on its pilot, but I'm pretty sure I have the specs of its mech. Do I have the specs of its mech?
You would know that it is a part of less of a horse licenses aren't really called licenses. Those mechs are more so called pattern groups.
Yeah.
So you know it's the pattern group Hecaton Cherries, which is a variant of the Baylor frame.
Yeah. It's a pattern group of the Baylor model from the horse framework, known as Hecaton Cherries. This one in particular was constantly coated in nanite swarm and carried a cyclone pulse rifle.
And her eyes will sort of like, when you mention the particulars of its weapon mounts, you won't really understand that. I see. To my understanding, your mechs are rather complicated, are they not? You wouldn't be able to recreate one without a 3D printer, is what I'm getting at.
No, we would not, so either they came from here, or they have a 3D printer somewhere else nearby.
I would advise caution when dealing with that individual. It is not exactly out of the question that SSC may have their eyes on this planet for its abundance of resources. And especially its history. Either that, or this individual could be affiliated with those Agrigorians. Were that the case, don't know why you wouldn't have engaged them in combat already. Unless your relationship with the Agrigorians has improved since you last fought them?
When I got that CB transmission, he said we share a common enemy in the machine. They're no longer their whole interest in Evergreen was they thought we were working with the machine. They backed off. I saw no reason to keep slaughtering their mechs and men.
I see. Well, I have no authority over you. I am simply Patience's assistant. But if you decide if you end up meeting with this Tatal individual, if there's any chance you can establish a relationship between Evergreen and these Rangers, perhaps, just maybe, the colony might survive. I can delay their analysis through bureaucracy for a handful of days, at most. But if you can get me concrete evidence that the colony is more protected than it currently is, around.
I'll do everything in my power to bolster Evergreen's defenses while I have Otacon figure out where these Gregorians might be. They've sent a signal once, and if that mech is a part of them, then that mech signature is traceable.
I see. Glad to have you on board, so to speak. While I'm working on this, in the meantime, I'll also look to see what I can do to restore complete access to the colony. If you don't mind, that NPC of yours, she'll glance over at Otacon. If he doesn't mind lending some of his processing power to keeping the colony up and running, I would appreciate it.
What do you think about that, Otacon?
Otacon will consider it for a moment as there's sort of like a reflection in his glasses. I'll do it. As long as you put in a good word for us for patience. I'd rather not get locked out again. It was unpleasant. And frankly, you push up his glasses. Rather annoying.
Look at you go.
And he'll sort of nod, just calling it as I see it, Snake.
That's fair, Otacon. Well, you've heard Otacon's terms.
She'll nod. It's very reasonable. Right. I'll look to see what I can do to restore your access. And see to it that Patience doesn't do something so short-sighted as this in the future. She'll press another button and the room will start to fill with natural light again. Now, I think the two of you should be off before we draw more suspicion than we already have by having this clandestine meeting of ours.
Very well. I'll let you know if I figure out anything else.
And Otacon will press a button on his suit and go invisible, and I'm assuming so will you.
Yeah, I like to imagine it's just both Snake and Otacon turning away from the table. And Otacon just pushes up his... Because he actually does that in Metal Gear Solid 1. One of the times when he turns invisible is he just pushes up his glasses and then turns translucent. And Snake just starts walking towards the door as he activates his invisibility.
And as the two of you leave the governor's farm, you'll exit and you'll decloak outside of it, away from prying eyes. And Otacon will look at you. That, I think, was a job well done. And the two of you will share a little exchange. A bit of a handshake.
I already know what you're doing. Hold on, I'm getting the gif. I'm getting the gif.
Oh, you know what it looks like. You know what it looks like. Share it with the class. Like the most overcomplicated fucking handshake.
Good job, well
The
done to
two
me, Hal.
straightest men alive. The two straightest men alive.
Yup.
You can't be gay if you can do a fucking handshake like that.
This isn't Yowie, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yowie isn't real.
Yeah, he's a real. That's what.
And that is where we will end the session.
Excellent.
As that downtime event has been concluded, and the group